Hi, it's Haley Joyelle again. Hope you're doing all right. Today we're going to do a module on the minute paper. So learning objectives is that by the end of this very brief module, you will experience writing a 1-minute paper, develop a 1-minute paper prompt, and anticipate how a 1-minute paper can help you assess learning. So this fits into our training paradigm under learner practice. So student engagement, getting them to think about what they've just experienced. And this module is going to explain how to facilitate this activity called the 1-minute paper exercise. The basics are that you must have the prompt and a couple minutes, and they need to have a writing utensil and a half a sheet of paper or a computer, but I recommend the paper. Variations. You could do this at the end of lectures, in the middle, or in the beginning. You could have them do it individually or with a couple of other learners collaboratively. You could have this be a graded, low stakes points assessed or not graded. You could have them turn it in or not turn it in. You could have it be anonymous or that they have their name on it. So the 1-minute paper, the standard paper prompt is, what is the most important thing you learned in class today? And this promotes reflection on what they've heard, saw, learned, and it gets them to sort of think about ranking the relative importance. And this can be a wonderful feedback loop, because if half of the class is thinking one thing is most important and the other half of the class thinks all these other things, or is everyone on the same page? Are they thinking the most important thing is what you're thinking the most important thing? This is valuable information as trainers/teachers. And then the other question is, what question is still unanswered, which gets them to reflect on what is missing in their understanding. Is there sort of a gap there? And then it's also allowing them to think about anticipation of what is needed. So you can do some other variations. You can have it kind of open, or you could ask for a very specific learning objective, topic, skill, or issue that you're covering. So why use the 1-minute paper? Well, it promotes active learning, which is, getting them to really think, engaging them to reflect on the new materials. So that increases those neural pathways. It's really quick and easy. It can be completed from start to finish in 3 minutes. Doesn't require a lot of preparation or materials. Any class size can do it. It's really versatile activity. You can pretty much do it anywhere as long as there's a little space to write. And it offers that feedback loop. This feedback loop can be really useful for you as a trainer, but it's also an opportunity for the learner to reflect on learning, which we sort of call metacognition. And this, if you did collect them, it gives potential for instructors to review or have a summary compiled by an assistant, which I used to do for a professor, and it was useful for him. All right, we're going to practice. So maybe pause. Go get the supplies you need. So writing utensil and a piece of paper. And then come back, and we're going to consider the topics covered in the last module set on dose response. And here's your question. What is the most important thing you learned in this module set? And what question is still unanswered? And I'm going to get a timer and start timing. Go. All right, we got about 15 seconds left. All right, you have your minute. I don't know if you got to answer those 2 questions, Sometimes when I'm doing this activity, I like to spend the time thinking about what I think learners might write. And I'd say that in my experience, when you do this, the first couple times feel like a little clunky and it might take learners a little bit longer. But then if you're doing it, every couple of weeks or something, that, they just pick right back up and it gets a little bit easier. So now I want you to imagine using this in an instructional environment, maybe a class that you've taught or you anticipate teaching, and think about where would you find it useful to have learners complete a 1-minute paper exercise. So more specifically, would you imagine it happening like after a particular type of content? Like where would you be most curious to have them do this reflection? And then what do you think you would gain from using this student engagement activity? If you imagine using it, do you think you might collect the papers and then what you might learn? Do you think students or other learners might appreciate the time for reflection, or that you're checking in with them? So I want you to sort of think about like imagining yourself using this particular activity. So in conclusion, 1-minute papers are a student engagement tool that can be implemented in a range of settings. The simplicity of the 2 questions is designed to have learners reflect on what they recently experienced, and the brief exercise promotes active learning. Thanks.